Have you ever felt like your mind is a storm, wild and restless, pulling you in countless directions? Imagine living in a place where the rain doesn't just fall. It sings, it challenges, it teaches. This is the story of how a young soul learned to turn the storm inside into a river that flows steady, deep, and unstoppable. In the remote hills of the Pacific Northwest, nestled between mist-clad mountains and dense evergreen forests, lies the small village of Cedarbrook. The villagers live simply but close to nature, where waterfalls thunder, rivers run wild, and the rain is more a companion than a weather. At the edge of this village lived a boy named Ethan Harper. Ethan was sharp, curious, and witty, but his mind was like the mountain winds during the heavy rainy season, scattered and unpredictable. When the torrential storms thrashed the ancient pines outside his window, Ethan's thoughts raced faster, and it became impossible to hold on to focus. Schoolwork, chores, conversations, even moments of play were regularly interrupted by bouts of distraction. His mother often urged him, "Ethan, your mind is like this river we live beside. Sometimes it roars and crashes, but it must also learn to flow steady to reach the ocean." Ethan was not convinced. "I'm just wired this way. I can't change it," he often said to himself. One autumn evening, as rain cascaded down the steep hillsides, Ethan's grandfather, a man known for his quiet wisdom, took him for a walk along the misty trail by the riverbank. "Ethan," he said, "I want to tell you a story about the river of stillness." The boy's eyes brightened with curiosity despite the cold drizzle. In this very valley, long ago, there lived a young man named Samuel. Samuel wanted nothing more than to become a great storyteller, but his mind was all over the place, like yours. One day, an elder took him to the very river you see now and handed him a wooden bowl. Grandfather's voice deepened with warmth. He said, "Walk upstream holding this bowl, but don't spill a single drop." Ethan looked at the calm river, imagining the challenge. The river roared, the winds tore at his cloak, and rain blurred his vision. Many times the water splashed, but Samuel kept trying, learning how to step carefully and focus fully on his task. Ethan asked, "What happened then?" Grandfather smiled. Samuel realized something important. The river was like his thoughts. When he focused on the bowl and the path ahead, he could find peace. He learned that discipline wasn't about forcing his mind to be still, but giving it a purpose to flow toward. That night, as rain pattered softly on the roof, Ethan decided to try the challenge himself. He found a sturdy wooden cup and planned his walk along the slippery river path. At first, he stumbled, distracted by the thunder, the distant call of owls, the splash of fish. Each time water spilled, frustration bubbled. But slowly, with each attempt the next day, he grew steadier. Ethan woke earlier, began to meditate in the faint dawn, focused on deep breathing, watching how the rain droplets hit the leaves, quiet yet purposeful like the rhythm he wanted for his mind. Weeks passed. Teachers noticed a new calm in his answers, his handwriting steadier, his steps more sure. When the village announced the annual storytelling contest near the river bend, Ethan entered, this time prepared not just with stories, but with a mind trained like the flowing river, focused, steady, ready. When the day of the storytelling contest arrived, clouds hung heavy and low, releasing a gentle drizzle that made the earth smell rich and alive. The entire village gathered near the river bend, beneath towering evergreens dripping with rainwater. Ethan felt a familiar flutter in his chest, but this time it was not panic. It was anticipation, fueled by months of quiet preparation. As he stepped onto the makeshift stage, the rain formed a soft melody around him, like a natural orchestra accompanying his tale. He began, "Once in the heart of a mountain valley much like ours, there flowed a river called the Whispering Stream. Not the fastest or widest, but the one that spoke in quiet riddles and taught patience." The village listened, rain tracing patterns on their coats, eyes focused on Ethan as his voice wove images of sunlight filtering through the mist, the delicate balance of nature, and the power of persistence. He told them how Samuel, the young man from the river story, faced countless distractions, how his mind wanted to wander like the falling raindrops scattered across the forest floor. But Samuel learned something precious. Ethan continued. That even the wildest river can find its way if it trusts its path and keeps moving forward, drop by drop. After the story ended, silence fell, then erupted into heartfelt applause. Grandfather's proud smile was the brightest light in the rainy gloom. Later, as the villagers dispersed, many came to share how Ethan's story reminded them of their own struggles, to focus, to dream, and to keep going even when the storm feels overwhelming. In the weeks that followed, Ethan adopted a simple routine. Early mornings filled with meditation by the riverside, journaling thoughts, and practicing mindful steps along the winding paths. He limited distractions like endless scrolling on his phone, choosing instead to listen to the natural rhythms around him, the rain falling, the river rushing, the wind whispering through the trees. He realized discipline was not a punishment, but a gift he gave himself, a way to honor his dreams and his quiet mountain home. One rainy afternoon, as Ethan sat beneath a large cedar tree watching droplets race down the bark, he reflected on how far he'd come. The restless storms inside had calmed. His focus was not perfect, but it was growing steadier, much like the river flowing tireless beneath the mountain mists. A voice inside told him, "Keep walking the path. You are the river now." Has there ever been a time you felt like your mind was a wild storm, impossible to tame? What small step will you take today to turn that storm into a steady river? Share your story below, because sometimes the first step toward discipline starts with a single word.